Alright, so hi everyone, Austin from Coding Pals, and today we'll be taking a look at the Canadian Computing Competition 2019 Junior Problem 2. So time to decompress. So we'll first read the question. So it says, you and your friend have come with a way to send messages back and forth. Your friend can encode a message to you by writing down a positive integer n and a symbol. You can decode that message by writing out that symbol n times in a row on one line. Given a message that your friend has encoded, decode it. The first line of input contains L, the number of lines in the message, and the next L lines can contain one positive integer less than 80, followed by one space, followed by a non-space character. So let's look at the output specification. So essentially it says the output should be L lines long. Each line should contain the decoding of a corresponding line of the input, specifically if the line I plus 1 of the input contained an X. Then line I of the output should contain just the character X printed n times. Alright, so just to simplify that, I think honestly pretty complicated explanation, we get a number, and then we get a number, and we'll know how many letters we have to print out, and then we'll get a number, and then that number will denote how many times we have to essentially multiply that letter by. So if we look at the sample input, it says 9 plus signs, so then we obviously print 9 plus signs, and it just 3 minus signs, we print 3 minus signs. So essentially we're taking the input and just multiplying the letters that we have to multiply. All right, so let's just start coding this right now. So we can start with dealing with our input. So and yeah, so and then we can start creating our lists to store the information we have. So we can create an amount, we can create letters, and then we should create decoded lists for us to print out. All right, so let's just create a for loop. We'll start 0 and then it will go to n. And then essentially the first line, we can just call that line. And this will be a string, so there won't be an int in front of that. And we can actually just go dot split, which will essentially add a space between our inputs. And then we can go num, which will be the number. And then we can just go line, and this will be the first input that we get. So we can just go 0. And then we can just append the amount. We can append the num into our list. All right, so that should be good. So now we've put everything into our lists, and now we have to deal with, I guess, the easy part. So right now what we have to do is just multiply we have to multiply the letters by the amount specified. So we can just use another for loop here. And then we can just go decoded dot append, and then we can just go amount, and essentially it'll loop through both of the lists, and that's how we'll get our final result. And right here we can just go print, and this will be outside the loop. So let's just go outside, print, and yes, so decoded. Yeah, so we have our decoded list, and then so if we just go ahead and run this, use the sample input, we can clearly see that that's not the result we desire. So essentially what we have to also do is get rid of the brackets and print them on separate lines. So that's a very easy fix. So what we can use is we can use sep. So essentially it just means we're separating. And then that should work. So let's just test our input again. All right, that's good. So we can just copy this and grade it. So essentially, yeah, so that's it. So I guess we can just review our solution again. And first, I guess the most difficult part for beginners is dealing with this really messy, I guess, input. So as we can see, we've split the numbers with a space, and then we we appended that first, I guess, that first number into a list, and then we appended the letter into a list. And then once we have those two lists, then we can just run a for loop, iterate through both of those lists and multiply into our amounts. And I guess another skill we've learned today is to use separate when you want to get rid of brackets, and I guess print on different lines. And I guess that's it for this tutorial, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.